Hi, I'm Noel Suffren, aka Stimpigato, and this is Boone. We're going to show you how to create a 3D contour map today. I'm going to use 3 programs to do it. It's going to be Photoshop to start from scratch. We're going to export that to Illustrator, and then from Illustrator, we're going to take it to After Effects to make it 3D. So, hope you enjoy. I'll try to make it quick and concise, and thanks for watching.
In Photoshop, we're going to go on up here to the File menu, choose New. And from that menu, we're going to look at Film and Video choices and choose us a nice 1920 by 1080. When we create that document, first thing we're going to do is hit D on the keyboard to set our default color palette. Now, we're going to first just go up here and render us some difference clouds. Under our Filter menu, Render Difference Clouds. And there you go, a random pattern. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go right back to our filter menu and come on down to the blurs and choose Gaussian or Gaussian blur, depending on how fancy you feel. Throw in a high number like 35 or so, which I have in there. Hit OK. Next thing we're going to do, posterize this. And then there you go. All right. We're going to leave it really simple. Let's see what looks the best. I like 6. And then we're going to throw a gradient map on there. And then choose a couple of complementary colors. All right. And we are going to save our masterpiece. File, save. I'm going to call this Contour PSD and hit Save. All right, and then we're going to go back and choose File, Save As, and save this as a CompuServe GIF or GIF, depending on your predetermined fancy factor. And there we go, 6 colors. Okay, and that's the end of Photoshop part of this. On to Illustrator. All right, now here we are in Illustrator, and we're going to do some quick work here too. Choose a HD TV setting, find it under Film and Video if you don't see it right away. 1920 by 1080, hit Create, and then straight away go on up to File, and we're going to choose Place, find our contour GIF, drop that right on the artboard, and center it using the Align tools at the top of your screen. Now that we have it aligned, we're going to use Image Trace, which should be in your window menu, Image Trace, if you don't see it already. Twirl down this stuff. We're going to choose a preset of 16 colors because we've got 6 colors. Then when it gets done doing its thing here, we want to uncheck Preview because we're going to reduce all of these advanced settings. So twirl that down if you haven't already. And then I just like to say twirl. Uncheck Preview, drop these pups. Recheck Preview, hit Expand. Now we have a bunch of shapes. Okay, what we're going to do here is create an action. So Window Action menu if you don't have it visible, and on your Actions panel we're going to hit Create New Action. But okay, first deselect everything, create a new action. We'll call it Group by Color or Compound by Fill. How about that? Record. Now I'm going to select my highest peak. That should be the latest color here. We'll make sure we have our direct selection tool. Control Shift A. Okay. Select that. Now we're going to go to the Select menu. Same fill color. Now that should have everything. Zoom out here so we can see it all. Everything in the same lightest color selected. And no lighter color. Alright. Next thing we're going to do is go back to the Arrange menu, which is under Object menu, Arrange, Send to Back, and then hit Control 8 on your keyboard, Control and the number 8, and that will turn them into one compound path at the back of our scene. We're going to select the next color out, hit stop on our actions menu before we do anything else. Okay, now We don't need that in there. We'll trash that. Now we can run our action on this color. And you'll see that is now our next compound path at the back with the one that we just did right above it. Okay, now we're going to go to the next color out. Do the same action. See, it's at the back. 3 compound paths now. We're going to select our, it looks like our darkest color, and run our action. And it is, because we ended up with 4 distinct layers. I'm not sure what Photoshop meant about those 6 colors, but we've got 4 distinct layers, which is great. Okay, here comes the fun bit. Now that we have them all grouped by compound path, I want to select the group layer up here on top, and then we're going to release to layers sequence. And now we have these 4 layers that are distinct layers. We'll move them to the top, and we'll throw away layer 1. And we've actually completed everything we need to do in Illustrator. We have 4 distinct layers with the lightest on top, mid, lows, lowest. Now we're going to save this as an Illustrator file. And I think contour sounds like a pretty good name for this one. All right. I will see you in After Effects. Okay, here we are in After Effects for the final phase. We're going to take our new project and double-click in the project pane or Control-I on the keyboard. We're going to find our Illustrator file, double-click on that, bring that in with a dialog box. We're going to make sure we have composition selected. The layer size is already set to our 1920 by 1080, so we should be good. We can double-click on that composition and you will see all 4 layers already ready to be manipulated. We're going to check 3D on all 4 layers. If you don't see that, F4 on your keyboard will toggle that back and forth. So we have them all 3D-ified. Now we're going to light them by going to Layer and choosing New Light. We'll leave it at Point Light and just hit OK. So choose Point Light if it's not selected. I'm going to change to 2 views so we can sort of see what's going on in 3D space. There's our light. I'm going to bring it back in 3D space a little bit and slide it over to create some shadows. Now to give it depth, we're going to choose the first layer here, which should be the top one. And actually, let's select all the layers, and then we'll hit P on the keyboard so we can see their positions. Control-Shift-A will deselect everything. You can now go to layer 1 and type in -75. Pop that up in space. Do the next one at increment. -50 works, and the last one we'll do at -25. And now all 3 layers should be separated from one another in Z space. How can we tell? Well, let's add a camera. So we'll go to Layer, New, Camera, and we'll hit OK. And I'm going to show you a nifty little trick here. We're going to go right back to Layer and go down to Camera, Create Orbit Null. Now that you will see we have a camera that is parented to the orbit null. If we twirl down its options, we transform. All of these can be keyframed and give you some cool camera effects. I'll show you what I mean right now. Alright, so we will first, let's just give everything keyframe, and we'll go to the final frame and change a few values to animate this, and that will be the tutorial. So check this out. If we slide the position over a little bit, alright, we get some camera panning, and we can also change the orientation a little bit to create some really cool effects. So there you go, and maybe change some of the rotation to really flip it out, and then we can come all the way back to the beginning and hit spacebar and see what we created. You could do lots more interesting things than that, but that's the tutorial in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. Have a great one. Oh, and of course, don't forget to save your work.